Hey guys, so we're here. I want to do a quick review for the Immortal Hawk, Volume 1 graphic novel trade or whatever. So this book came out a while back, and I remember people really were hyped about it. They were talking about it, they were praising it and praising it, and I didn't, I was like, okay, whatever, it's probably good, but I've never really been a big Hawk person. He's just never been a character that overly interests me, and I really can't even tell you if I've ever really ever sat down and read any of his solo stories. I mean, I've read a couple highlight things from back in the day, like like when he was fighting the West Coast Avengers and stuff, went crazy and all that kind of stuff. But I never really kept up with the character. So I decided to check this out. Most of what I know from the Hawk is when he's with the Avengers and he's walking and talking, and he's just a normal member with just anger, with a little bit of anger issues. This book really takes it to a different extreme. They paint the Hawk as this really horrifying, like larger than life, monstrous thing, unstoppable force. Which, I mean, that's what the original idea is, so they definitely play on that. The book really feels like a horror book a lot of times, especially in the early issues, because you don't really see the Hawk much. You're always seeing Banner. He's always in the situation, and then before you even really get a good look at the Hawk, you're just seeing giant green hands coming out of walls, taking people and pushing them through the wall, and you never see that person again. It's just stuff like that that I think really does a good job of kind of conveying the horror and just the real life craziness that if a random mugger came across the Hawk, I mean, it would be terrified. And this book really plays on that. It also kind of plays in the idea that the Hawk is more of a not so much not so much a bruteless monster or mindless monster as he is this kind of like angel of vengeance kind of character. Like he's constantly going after people that have done wrongs, and he basically punishes them. He could smell their lies, and he can smell their fear, so to speak. So it's got a very kind of like Spectre kind of feel in that regard. He's just going after sinners and stuff, and he can connect with those kind of people. They also kind of play in the. I think this is an old comic book thing, but they also play on the idea that nighttime is the Hawk's time and daytime is Banner's time. Now he can become the Hawk during the day, I believe, but normally like he just becomes the Hawk at night, and Banner can't really control it, so he has to make sure he's out of. He's ready to become the Hawk whenever the sun goes down. So that was a cool aspect. This series takes place after this big event. I forget what it was, where the Hawk was actually killed. Bruce had Hawkeye use a special arrow that he made and shoot it through Hawk's brain so that they could finally kill the Hawk. And he does it, and the Hawk dies, but apparently comes back because it's comic books. And this comic book really follows the idea that the Hawk is truly immortal. There is no destroying him. No matter how much you tear him down, he's going to come back up. This is really prominent in one issue where there's some. This book, definitely showcases some really crazy visuals of the Hawk just getting destroyed and just coming back and being obliterated into particles. Just really extreme, and it's really fun. And the art really lends itself to those particular kind of visuals. This artist is great at doing these really weird, warped, like half destroyed Hawk that's regenerating. He's in the middle of regenerating, so he looks just like this crazy puddle of destruction. It's great. The book's pretty well written too. I mean, there's a lot of nice philological conversations. There's a lot of you have a lot of good banter between Bruce and the Hawk, especially because they do the kind of classic Jekyll and Hyde thing where Hawk talks to Bruce through mirrors and reflections, and it's really cool. There's a lot of fun monologues, narration. In the story, actually, like there's a lot of characters that come into play in the story, and they keep coming into play. Like they come into play, they do their thing, they leave, but they have an impact. And this first volume does a good job of coming full circle by the end, because certain things that happen like in issue 1 or 2 come back to around issue 6 or whatever, and they really make an effect. The story has a lot of the issues feel kind of, especially the first few issues, feel like kind of one-shot episodes of a TV show. But then by the time you get to the end of the book, it's got a very central arc, and it's following that arc. And and the breadcrumbs are there, and we just have to kind of eat it and follow it. Overall, in closing, I think this is a really fun, entertaining book. I think it's pretty well written, especially for something like the Hawk, because you could easily dumb down a character like this with a book. So I feel like this is a very solid. I think it's a very solid new kind of age Hawk. It really brings new life into the story. At least to me anyway, as a casual fan, I think this is a really, really solid Hawk book. So definitely check it out, especially if you like kind of horror action mixed.